Yo, ZooMAFIA, what's going on, man? Hope you guys are all having a good day. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of The Flank. Just wanted to remind you guys to hit that sub button, man. We're closing in on 100,000 subs, so I appreciate everybody who comes in and hits that sub and joins the family, man. And then also, we will be having another co-host joining us on The Flank. Don't worry, nobody's going anywhere, but we're adding somebody else. I think 4 would be the perfect amount on the show. And I'm really excited. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this person on the show. So stay tuned for the next show, man. Got a big surprise for y'all. And just thank you again for all the love and support, man. It's been an absolute pleasure streaming every day and uploading videos and making content. You know, you guys have supported me every step of the way. So thank you guys so much. Love you guys. And I'll see you guys later, man. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Flank. I'm joined by the 20-time champion, the 2-time world champion, a legend in the business. Give it up for Patrick Price, a.k.a. Aches. And we got another one, another legend on the other side, another multi-champion, another world champion, a staple, Chris Duarte, a.k.a. Parasite. And also, today will be the last show where there will be 3 of us, because there will be 4 of us on the next one. Gentlemen, how you doing? You doing good today or what?
Yeah, where am I gonna be, Tom? Like, where are we gonna be on the?
Yeah, I figured we do 2 up top, 2 down low. You know, get like a little box.
Okay. That's spicy.
You know, where do you want to be, Pat? You want to be up top, down low? Where you want to be, bro? Where you want to be? Top right?
I'm thinking top right. Yeah,
top right. Yeah, you could be top right. Yeah, you could put you up there in the top right, Pat. It'll be cool. It'll be a lot of fun. Obviously, we're gonna do a little reveal on Friday. That's when he will be on, or she. I will not say who, but yeah, new co-host will be joining us. Nobody's getting replaced. We're just adding another one to the show. So you know, drop in the comments down below who you think it's gonna be. But we're all super excited to get this guy on the show. So let's get back to business. Let's get into COD. Great day of fucking Call of Duty today, or what, man? We went by pretty quick too. Quick matches. Quick. No problems with production. No lag outs. No problems. Yeah, some good ones, man. What'd you guys think overall on the day?
All great results for me. Just, you know, prediction. Check. All 3. So it was a good day for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. It was a good day, man. I'm honestly just happy to see the New York Subliers keep the dream alive, because that
keeping
is
it alive,
gonna be a wonderful
Chris.
Story.
I don't know how they're doing it. We'll end up getting to the series. Obviously, Optic Texas played the New York Subliners today. That's going to be the last series of the day. But we got a couple other series to go over before that. We're going to get right into the news. We got Boat Cage, Hardpoint, Boat Cage S&D, Tuscan Control, Berlin Hardpoint, Tuscan S&D. We have the Boston Breach going up against the Los Angeles Guerrillas today. LAG, after a big win against FaZe, were not able to beat Boston today. Gentlemen, any thoughts on the vetoes as we get into map number 1?
We kind of mentioned yesterday that this was going to be like the battle of who doesn't want to play Gav. So I was interesting to see them veto it, because I don't think Boston would pick it. So
you think they wasted a veto there? You think they should have vetoed something else, maybe?
Potentially. But anyway, both these teams are kind of, they want to play these mixy maps. They both have a lot of sub players that should be on these type of maps. And I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised by this result. I'm not surprised that Boston came out and handled them. You know, I think Porter also mentioned it. I think he was obviously joking, but he was like, FaZe threw yesterday against Guerrillas. I don't think they obviously threw, but they were expanding their map pool and kind of testing the waters. And it seemed like a series that, like, if they lost, it wasn't the worst thing for them. So, you know, I was kind of hesitant to see how the Guerrillas performed today. And yeah, Boston came out and kind of showed them what's up. So,
yep. What about you, Chris?
Not too big of a surprise.
I'm not really too surprised by the results of the series. As for the vetoes, yeah, I think Pat hit the nail on the head. And these guys are probably gonna, you know, they're coming off a high of beating FaZe, so I expected relatively similar maps to be attempted to be played by the Guerrillas. And Boston obviously let it play into their hands, considering they also have a really aggressive core, which is, you know, where you want to see the players like Nero and Vivid, you know, playing on the map. So not really too surprised by the results, man. I like this Boston team. I think Vivid made a huge impact to this team. Seriously,
yeah, he's been great for them, man.
I feel like him getting dropped was a blessing for him. Like, no bullshit, it was a straight blessing that he got dropped by that Florida team, because I think he's in a way better situation,
and he's probably gonna make champs.
Oh yeah, now definitely.
Was it? Did he get dropped, or did he want out? How did it all work over there? I thought he wanted out, and they also want him gone. Like, how did it?
I mean, it could have been a mutual thing, but the way it was, discussed was, it was like, we're getting rid of Vivid and trading into Boston.
Yeah.
So either way, I mean, I think it was a blessing for him. And I also, I don't have the exact stats, but I feel like Vivid has beaten every team, like every past team for him. He beat Florida. He had some success against well, I guess it wasn't the NV team anymore, but those guys,
you're talking about the DAT when he was on Dallas.
Optic, yeah, when they beat Optic, Florida always was beating Optic. So yeah, he seems to do well against his past teams, and it's kind of stayed true so far.
Yeah, I mean, we start things off on a Bocage hard point, and honestly, this whole entire game was all the way down to the wire. Nobody really had big leads. I think the biggest lead was right there when Boston had 40, but LAG was able to bring it back on that last hill. And for me, I mean, it's Nero. I mean, this guy is just such a difference maker for Boston. I feel like every time you need somebody to make a play, Nero's making a play. And I also feel like he's just riding off of Vivid, right? Like, I feel like Vivid's just making his job easier. And we've heard Nero talk about it a little bit in interviews and stuff. He just seems a lot more comfortable on the map. And in my opinion, I think Nero's the hard carry right now. Not the hard carry, but he's making really, really impactful plays. And it's good, right, to see that he's getting more consistent. I think that's the most important thing. Because a lot of people struggle with consistencies. What do you see different in Nero's gameplay, other than the scoreboard being more consistent? But do you think there's something he changed up, or do you think it's the team changed? Like, what do you think it is?
I just think he has help.
They're playing Bocage and not Gavitu. I think that helps a lot.
That does help.
Yeah, but I still seen a lot of times when Nero on this map would go like 40 deaths or like fucking 25, 30 deaths or kills. Like he's always been super aggressive. I think he just has backup now where he's just not really caught out alone. It makes it harder for, teams to anticipate the pace, because like when you're playing this team, right, if you're like in a shitty spot and you're trying to break out of an area of the map, it's like, okay, Nero's going to run at you, but like now you also got Vivid running at you. So like it just creates more it's just more pressure, man. It's harder to deal with. On top of that, Tej has been playing a lot better too. And Tej was one of those players that he wasn't putting up the best performances even prior to this roster change. I think every single player on this team has been just stepping up and performing, the way they needed to, bar the LA Thieves series, which I feel like both times they played them, it was just like some weird results, but like versus every other team, they've looked good. So I don't know what's going on over there, but they just look really, really good. They're all super comfortable and they're winning these series.
Yep.
In a fairly dominant fashion. I feel like it doesn't feel like these, like some of the maps might be a little bit close sometimes, but though it feels like they're winning the maps comfortably that they win. So yeah.
Let's go to the list today with the Boston Breacher and the Bocage and see how the boys are coming through the first map.
Nothing's part. Nice. In the back. Dead. I'm in the house. Just let it on, bro. Down on time. I need it front side time. I'm coming up behind him. I swung. Nice. You have the shooter? Dead. Nice. One man. Hole. I think I'm running down man. Don't go. Nice. Nice jump. Nice, good shit. Look for smart. I help.
Can we tunnel or some shit? Like deep right?
They could be each other. They could be settled.
I'm going back. I'm going back.
I'm top house right now.
Take a little left.
Yo, shooter. I
got one. Yo, deep. You sparked in deep back.
I'll flick it. Back window, silo dead. I'm flicking tunnel. Play together.
Yep. One shot down. Yeah, one shot the back. Front side time and back side time weak. Push out front.
Yeah, front doors and back side time.
You saw him the back?
No, on the barrels.
Kitchen, gel me. Back kitchen. Flying at you.
Let's go in.
Nice time.
I'm one front.
Another kitchen.
Nice. Silos. Get in your kitchen.
Can we
it could be A5.
Every left.
I'm picking back window.
One shot back window. Back right, Austin.
They're gonna be push up on us. Get this time. They're not gonna know.
I don't see your time.
Watch out. Alright, make sure we get this time.
I think front doors.
Nothing street.
Front doors.
Looking kitchen.
I'm gonna go right. I'm gonna actually.
A pot.
How are we gonna hit hold?
I'm B up Eddie.
I don't see him.
Yo, what's in his hold? He's at kitchen or something.
Oh, no. Slasher. You went back river, I'm pretty sure. He was one shot though.
One's gonna be red on this.
Thoughts on listening? I thought they sounded pretty good. And these guys are fucking twisted right now. A lot of energy coming out of these guys, no?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's get into the ending of this game. This one went all the way down to the time limit. Typical Bocage. I felt like both teams just came out with so much aggression. These are both very aggressive teams. You got Neptune and Hook on one side. You got Vivid and Nero on the other. Those are players that they like to hustle, man. They like to get aggro on the map. So this map was just an extreme mix fest, and I think Boston did a good job once they held the lead, just kind of staying away from the hill, keeping it white. See a lot of teams now starting to keep the hill white when it gets to the end of the second half, and it worked for them, man. Boston, they end up going 1-0 in the series. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard, man. Nero 39 and 30. Guy almost had a 40 bomb. Everybody pulling weight on the Boston side. Over on the other side for LAG, looks like the only two positive were Spartan Slasher, right? So the subs maybe slacking a little bit in this one. It seems like that might have been the difference maker, man. Nero and Vivid just back-to-back 30 bombs, right? Both of them. Maybe Hook and Neptune. They had a tough matchup for them here in the boat cage.
The damage was pretty identical. They just couldn't finish kills. The Gorillas were just like I felt like Boston was just edging out every single gunfight, which just put them in like superior position.
Yep. And then we get into a boat cage. We get into a boat cage S&D. This is gonna be the second map. LAG right off the rip, they go 3-0 fast, man. Very quick, aggressive rounds out of them. They're doing a good job picking up first bloods and working some trades. And honestly, this was a pretty comfortable win for LAG here in the S&D. I felt like where they really struggled today was the respawn. I feel like they couldn't keep up with Boston and respawn. So I think that was a big issue for sure.
I'm not surprised by that, man. I said this when they first teamed. Spart, Neptune, Hook, those guys are very comfortable in search and destroy. They used to, they're pretty good friends from what I know, and they played a lot of S&D chows and stuff like that together in other titles. So seeing them be pretty good at S&D, especially on maps like this where it's like super aggressive, like I think that's not really where this team's gonna ever struggle.
Yeah, especially how Boston plays it, Chris. Boston was just kept running at him. You saw it right there, right? Boston Nero just kind of runs up the middle of the map. But just these rounds were going by so quick.
I think they still had the bow cage effect from the hard point, bro.
Yeah, it could be.
I can't wait for this map to be gone, bro. I was just thinking about it through the hard point and now the S&D. Like, I'm so excited for this map
hard to follow, dude.
No more.
It is hard to follow.
I can't be the only one. Even from like a very casual viewer perspective, bro, this map is just pure chaos.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like in jetpacks when you would just like swap POVs into like death.
Yeah,
Just,
you're on somebody for 2 seconds.
There's a team like the Gorillas, man. I feel like you gotta just take your time, be a little bit more passive. I think like the Toronto play style would probably work a little bit more in S&D versus these guys, because these guys are very aggressive. They got that like S&D star mentality where they just work quick, effective like pushes, and it worked out for them in this match.
Well, it didn't work for Boston because they were getting super aggro and they were getting punished for it. And then when we get into the last round here, I mean, LAG, they went up pretty quick. That 3-round boost was pretty good to start off the map. But I just like the way they get the first blood here. They calculated a grenade here. Little lineup spots. They double nade that back tank. That's going to take care of Vivid. That's a very common spot. So people are starting to get smart and they're starting to coordinate some of these grenades. That's going to give him a first blood. TJ, he gets one. He makes it a 3v3, but after that, Neptune, he's able to pick up a kill low, and in the 3v2 situation, they kind of just break ankles. Tony's the last one up. A really big win coming in from the LAG boys. That's going to be the last map that they win in this one. They don't win anything else. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard. Everybody from Boston is negative, and everybody except for Spart positive from the Los Angeles Gorillas. Spart still pulling his weight, doing what he's got to do. Not too shabby for the LAG boys in search and destroy. It doesn't seem like that's their problem. And they do have S&D players, right, Chris? Like LAG, you said, like, isn't Hook and Neptune, aren't they always playing those S&D 8s?
Yeah, that's why I said, like, those guys, like, they thrive in S&D.
Yeah,
especially when they're working together.
You think those S&D 8s are a factor? You think it's a factor for these guys? Putting in the extra time?
Probably. I would say so.
Style. I think they're all playing, like, with the... Aside from maybe Slasher, like the 3 of these guys probably play and like to play S&D the same way, and I think they're all comfortable in search, and that's kind of why we see them have success in that mode.
Yep. And then we get into the control. We got a Tuscan control to start things off, and honestly, at the end of this first round, man, I think this is an LAG troll here. I'm not really too sure what they were doing. So it starts with this push right here. In Boston, they end up stopping this one. And in LAG, they have a second chance at this, man. It's a 3v4 in favor of LAG with 15 seconds left. LAG's coming off spawn. I just didn't like that Hook just ran out by himself. I would have liked it if he slowed down right here. He just ran at him. There was still 8 seconds. And you guys know every second counts. And you could just kind of see how he just kind of runs out. He ends up dying by himself. And then at that point, his teammates are trying to catch up. They go one by one. They don't wait for each other. Slasher even gets a grenade. And then even right there, I mean, one guy here, I don't know who it was, just kind of walked out and was like, you see that? He just kind of walked out. Wasn't even like playing for the kill. You know what I'm saying? He just like walked. He just
yeah. I think they just got caught up in the moment, and they were just like, oh, time. But like in reality, like, oh, if you just take your time and you can hop on it last second and just try to. What they have to do, get 3 kills.
Yeah, they needed 3 kills. That's it. And they had and listen, they still had 8 to 10 seconds, man. I mean, you killed a kid plat and you're good. You just hop on a point. You find the other guys and you're fucking chilling. So
especially because you have that so in a 4v3 you have that one extra person that can just like, if he can manage to sneak on the point, he's going to turn everyone's heads, which is going to create a distraction for you to like try to kill the other 3. So I don't know, they definitely had a better opportunity to win the round than what they did, dude, because what the hell was that?
Yeah, we were talking about Nero early, and Tom, you kind of asked, like, do you think it was all Vivid? I think, dude, Nero has a 1.4. I think this is just Major 4 so far. He's got a 1.4 in
that's
control.
Fucking crazy, bro.
That's nuts. That's like, I don't have his like last and average stats from the past, but like that is where he's really turned up for this team. And in a mode where this team wasn't like, you know, that successful in control, but I think that's one of the biggest catalysts for them.
Yeah, he was the story of this map. He was the one who got them the dub here in the offense. I mean, that was the one round where I thought LAT trolled, where they could have maybe won an offense there. They had the life advantage, and I thought they maybe had some time left to make something happen, but the one-on-one push just kind of killed them. And then it's just nonstop defensive wins until the 2-1 round. This is where Boston was able to close it out. And honestly, instead of them stacking, they just pushed up. They can't push it. Listen, Boston's one of those teams that have not been stacking all year, and they didn't stack again this round. But if you're not going to stack, the least you can do is shit on them. And that's what Nero did. I mean, he was just running a show. He's picking up ARs. He's 25 and 16 at the end at this last round here, and he ends up finishing this map with a shit ton of fucking kills. He was just he was running at him, and I like the play from him at the end when they stacked the point and he just kind of goes rogue. He was just feeling himself a little bit. So I feel like he was just. I don't know if killhorning's the right word, but I mean, we'll give it to him because hey, if you're not gonna stack, if you're not gonna stack, you might as well just get the fucking kills, man. You know, and that's exactly what he did. So.
I've always been a pretty firm believer in Nero as a talent. He's just had issues with like slowing down and like being disciplined. But when this guy can get in that rhythm, and he started to definitely slow down a little bit more, playing his life a little bit more. He even talked about in his interview, like this guy can be one of the best players in our league. I'm telling you right now, he was overlooked, but he was in the same like kind of like generation, like the same not community, but like the same type of like players as like were Sib, even like Exceed. He's in Challengers, but like Exceed, Sib, Mac, all those guys, they all come from the same like I guess era of like Call of Duty, and he was kind of overlooked, but it's good to see him finally getting some shine on this Boston team.
Yep, he deserves it, man. He deserves all the shine. He's going to help Boston get a 2-1 lead, man. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard. 34 and 16 for Nero Poison, and that's actual kills. I don't know what the fuck his EKIA was, but this guy was fucking piecing, bro. The rest of his team, negative wasn't. He was positive 5, but TJ, Reese, they were both pulling weight, doing what they got to do on the other side. Just seemed like they couldn't keep up, man. Whole team is negative. LAG just got outslayed in this one, especially in that last round right there. Boston really kicked up. So really good plays coming out of Boston. Big Crimsix tweet coming in. We'll obviously get to the Optic New York series, but Crimsix actually just tweeted. He said, GG's Optic, y'all should probably get in the hill. Inder, you just got your other thumb back after... He said, you got your other thumb back after it has been somewhere deep within your own asshole. Don't shoot my body, you fat bastard. Seth is a beast and an even better friend. Now go use your Twitch Prime on my channel, hashtag NYSL. Dude, this guy's fucking crazy, man. He's fucking nuts,
yeah,
this guy.
He's a psychopath.
He's fucking... This guy's fucking... He had a fucking wig on today during the interview with glasses on. What the fuck?
He fucking lost his thumb up his ass, dude. Holy shit.
He said the same shit to me, that motherfucker. He said, you got your thumb stuck in your ass. I said, go fuck yourself, Borden, you motherfucker. He said
the salts for
he said the same
he
thing.
was shooting bodies?
I have no idea. Was he? I didn't see him shooting bodies. Maybe,
I think in that S&D, maybe.
Maybe it was off camera or some shit. I don't even know. But we'll get to the New York Optic series. That was a very good series. But we're gonna get into this fourth map. It's the fourth map. It's a Berlin hardpoint. And listen, man, these P3s, they are absolutely killing teams, man. They're killing them, especially in the Optic series. We're going to watch it back, but this is kind of where Nero, man, the bailout. He's going to get a 2-piece. Tony's going to get a 2-piece to break it on in. And then after the fact, after they get in there, everybody falls, and the last one up is Nero. And look what he's able to do. Little highlight reel, able to pick up a 2-piece, hold on to the rest of his time, slides the corner, finds another one. jumps for the 4-piece coming out of fucking Nero. For the scrap time, son. This guy's all over the map. I'm telling you, he was doing it all today. That was a really big P3 break from Boston. And then after that, LAG, they were able to break onto this P4 and hold a little bit on the P5. So they were able to tie this up going into the second rotation of hard points. But overall, final thoughts on the series as I bring us into the second half of this game. It wasn't until Boston, they got some pretty good time on P2, P3. And then once they changed that second P4, they just steamrolled through this fucking shit, bro. The whole second half was all Boston. LAG could not keep up.
LAG losing this kind of gives me the the go ahead to kind of predict it. I don't see them making champs.
I don't think they're gonna make it.
Fall out. I think I think they may have like a 2 and 3 at best performance in the major or in the online
or
qualifier.
Miracle runs, of course.
I still don't even see it with this team. I mean, like yeah, they beat FaZe, but FaZe was trying different maps and stuff, and then they come in, they lose to Boston, and it. Honestly, I mean, aside from I guess the boat cage, to me, I was pretty convincing outside of that SND. Yeah, and I think they're gonna start in loser 1 and be a 1 and done. So I'm not high on the Gorillas, and I think this will be the last event for them. As
much as I hate the Toots Zenny's ego, man, these guys look different, bro.
They look good. They look good.
This is the best version of Boston we've seen. I know they looked somewhat decent before when they had Cap on the roster at certain points, but like this is scary. This is a scary form for them. They look really competitive. They have the whole package, man. Like they're pretty good at S&D. They still got some decent S&D core players in there. The respawn and their control, which was the thing that held them back the most. Prior to this stage was their control. Like they look really good in that game mode. They still look good in hardpoint. S&D, it's fine. It's whatever. I have faith in them, pulling off S&Ds here and there with their roster. Like they just look good.
When you say you're high on them though, like where do you have them? Like to me, they're just a top 8 team. Like I have them qualifying for champs, and I'll let you know more after the major in terms of like where I see them going in a chance. Yeah, where they actually stand. But at the very least, like this was a team like whenever going into this qualifier, we're like, they still might not make champs. Like there's a potential there. It's unlikely, but there's a potential there. Now I'm just like, I'm sold. This team is definitely this team should be going to champs. They're playing like it, and we'll see how they do at the major. But they look good going into it. They beat Seattle and they beat Gorillas, and then they lost to.
They beat Optic too, right? Yeah,
they're 2-1
with Pro Loop.
Oh, sorry, yeah. They lost this. No, they beat Seattle.
They beat Seattle. They beat Optic. They beat LA Gorillas. And hold on.
Why you guys? They lost to Thieves. Yeah. What's
Thieves? That's
they've lost. Here's the thing, like, and although like we're not going to chalk it up to that. They've lost to Thieves like twice, like in the last like 2 qualifiers, and both of those times they were like potentially the quickest series of like. This like losing in the CDL history. And I know like we always like to we don't like to sit there and say servers and stuff like that, but we know there's they've obviously had their issues with the servers when they play the Thieves. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Thieves, but it just looks weird when like they're so good versus all these other teams versus the Thieves. Maybe there's a mental block there. Maybe it is the servers. They can't get a fucking map on the board. They don't even look competitive. But outside of that series, this team looks really good.
Yeah, and this is kind of where Reese takes the route. I mean, take a look at that number 1 on your mini map. This is he makes a really good heads up play here. This is where Boston kind of puts LAG away. They were able to break into the second P3, just a weak street hold from LAG. We've seen it with so many different teams. They get in, they pick up a lot of scrap here, and then it's Reese. He just cuts it all the way across the map. He picks up the kill, and just like that, the spawns flip on LAG's head. So those are the little things, right, that Reese just brings to the table, man. Just taking those routes, man, and knowing when to do it, knowing when not to do it, and that was the game changer for me. After that, man, Boston, they roll away with this one. They hold this whole thing down. Their setup was gnarly on this hill, by the way. LAG couldn't even get fucking close. They kept trying to flood through front. And the thing is, TJ was just laying down. They just were just holding crossfires and just holding his cross, and they couldn't do it. This hill is a little fucking trolly, too. You can't see the guy in hill. He just kind of lays there and doesn't really do much. But really good place from TJ to stay down, draw a lot of attention. That's going to do it. Boston, they end up beating the Los Angeles Gorillas 3-1. Nero 30-21 once again. Everybody piecing on Boston. TJ 22-17. Zinni 24-17. 20-20 from Reese on the other side. Once again, everybody negative but Slasher, who's only +1. They just couldn't keep up today, man. The slaying power, it just wasn't there.
I think in Respawn is where they kind of do miss Pierce. Obviously in S&D, I think they're better off, but in Respawn, Pierce was kind of a consistent slaying factor. At least before he had, the health issues that he went through. That to me is just noticeable, like, because this team just doesn't seem to slay enough against the top teams. Like, we saw an anomaly performance out of Austin yesterday when he had a 1.5 against FaZe, but he's not doing that. Like, that was like a Zinni takeover performance from the beginning of the game.
Yep.
So to me, they're just going to lack slaying presence this whole time.
Yep. And they're going to have to try and figure that out, because right now it's looking a little slow for the Los Angeles Guerrillas. But let's move on to the next one, because it's looking even slower for this team, the Paris Legion, going up against the Los Angeles Thieves, man.
I don't even want to go over this, Tom. I'll be honest. This series, tough, man. I feel so bad for Donnie, bro, because he's playing so well, and it's like, dude, to play this well on a team this chalked and know that he's just like, there's nothing he can do. I feel super bad for him, man. I really, at this point, I hope something happens in the offseason where Paris just honestly lets him go, doesn't bring him back, because I don't want to see my man go through this another year of this. I think he deserves to be on a contending team. I think he's performing to that level, and he's just in a situation where he's kind of screwed right now. So I feel for him.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the frustrations coming out of Donnie right after the loss. I mean, he
tweet.
Yeah, you saw that? I was like, who the fuck is it? Who the temp is better than you, ZooMaa? Who the fuck? First of all, ZooMaa with 2 ways, motherfucker. And this guy said, and you have no bitches. Jesus Christ, bro. What's wrong with these people? But Donnie came in after the match today, and he tweeted. He said, GG's the Los Angeles Thieves. Honestly, man, that might be my last match of the year. I simply can't do this shit anymore. What do you guys think? Do you think this is real? Do you think he's actually going to stop? You think he's going to take a step back and just not do it?
I mean, he did. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him either.
What's the point?
It's a situation where it's like, dude, you know this team is going to have another 2 losses in this qualifier, most likely. You're going to go to Major 4 and probably get instant eliminated. That's just depressing. I mean, going to, like, he had a 1.4 today, and he got 3-0'd, and he had the most damage in the lobby by over, like, 1,000. Like, he's actually frying, but he's just in a situation where there's nothing he can do about it. So he's super frustrated. I don't even know if they have a sub on their bench outside of Theory, because I think they released John. So I think if he
no, John wasn't released. John, I think they when they tweeted that they were bringing in Johnny, they said that John is still
okay. Well, then they have to put John back in. So I don't know, man. It's a tough situation. I think if he makes that call, it's I don't think anyone would be like surprised by it.
I don't think anybody would say anything really.
Yeah, I mean he clearly deserves better. Just in the situation he's in right now.
What did Veli tweet to Paris? Because everybody's spamming Veli tweet, but there's nothing here. I'm not seeing anything from him unless he deleted it. He might have deleted it, but he must have said something to Paris if the whole chat's lighting up saying Veli tweet. But I'm looking at tweets and replies right now, and I'm not seeing a single thing. So if anybody can find me that tweet you're talking about.
He said Paris management, I'll link it, but he said Paris management got to do something about this team.
I
feel terrible for the players' lack of attention needed for this team to thrive. Take your team seriously.
Yeah, what the heck? Paris management got to do something about this team. I feel terrible for the players and the lack of attention needed for this team to thrive. Take your team seriously. This isn't fun anymore. Yeah, I feel like everybody's just been trashing Paris for the most part.
And like I said, I'm glad, bro. It's time that people are held accountable for not only horrible decisions, but lack of.
Yeah.
And this goes for all CDL teams, not just Paris. Obviously, Paris is the worst. But I think it's about time people are held accountable for some of the shit they're doing.
The thing that just blows my mind is, like, what do you make this investment for? Like, what is the point of making this investment? Do you think people are just gonna like flock and be fans of your team if just because you have a fucking name of a city or of a state or a country or whatever the fuck you want to call yourselves at this point? Like, no,
it's a little weird.
You got to give them you got to give them something to fucking cheer for.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
And I think because Tom, you brought up Tom Gravity's tweet, fakest COD he's ever played.
Yep.
To me, I mean, we were talking about this the other day as well, like kind of the same thing that Boston goes through when they play LAT, right? Because like you said that Jimbo's in Canada, Tom Gravity's in Jersey, Johnny's in Jersey, and Tim's in ATL. Mm-hmm. Like they're probably on the same server stuff where like LAT probably has a massive advantage. So Don obviously is probably the best off one in ATL, but the rest of them are definitely getting screwed in terms of online if it's the same situation that Boston goes through. So There's a lot of issues in the CDL right now, in my opinion, but it's definitely tough for this Paris team to kind of double down on that.
I'm reading chat, and I don't know if this guy's defending him. Paris actually made changes and picked up young talent. Bro, there's a difference between actually going out there and making a roster that makes sense with young, quote-unquote, young talent.
And throwing minimum at people.
Throwing the minimum at people that are desperate for an opportunity in the fucking league because there's no support in fucking challengers. Like, what the fuck?
He's not getting it. He's not understanding. He's not understanding.
This is the fucking worst. That's the worst take I've ever seen in my life.
Not only that, they started the year with what? Temp, Fellow, Decimate, and John, right? That was their roster?
Yeah, I think so. Wait, was it Decimate? Holy shit.
Yes,
how long have we been?
Decimate and John.
That's what I'm saying. So they released those guys and just picked up whatever challenger player was, you know, wanting to be in the CDL on a minimum. So it's kind of like, it's rough. Kismet mentioned in the chat that he said they would play for the men. Oh, that whole Texas Nation
Apparently
roster.
The whole Texas Nation roster wanted to go to Paris, but that ended up falling through because Paris, once again, just can't.
Was that before the season or mid-season?
That's probably mid-season.
Okay,
right?
Because the mid-season issue is different because, like he mentioned, Drew doesn't want to spend money.
After
Drew's
major
the owner of the team. He would have to release all the players, pay 2-month, severance buyouts based on their salary, because that's like the minimum. I think you get 2 months minimum of salary when you get released. You have to pay all of them and then pick up other players. So to think about that, like that discrepancy, like that's literally like 16 grand that he was not wanting to pay to I guess it would be 32 if you released all 4 players. I probably wouldn't have released Don, but whatever. So that's kind of the idea when you think about this Paris team of kind of where they're at. They wouldn't even pay 32 grand to make a pretty solid roster move and picking up the best AM team by far at the time.
Yeah, but that was one thing that I was going to say. Like, this was even something that I approached him with. So when I was still competing is like, and I know a lot of teams did in challengers, they tried to basically approach them as a package because it kind of would make more sense if you approach an organization as a package in challengers and be like, yo, we have this team. We've all performed really well in challengers. Like, take a chance on us. And I'm even sure the champs that won the Cold War Challenger Championships with like Saints, Spar, all those guys were probably trying to, get on any roster spot they could, even if it was Paris probably at the time. So they were just looking for an opportunity to compete together as a team. So like all these teams that were put together and at least made sense were approaching this organization and be like, yo, pick us up. And instead, they were like, just pick up any pro. And I'm not saying like these pros aren't good or don't deserve to be in the league at some capacity because we all know all these players are talented. It's just like the rosters don't fucking make sense. Do something that makes sense. Even if you think it might not be some superstars or all these veteran players or something like that. Just do something that makes sense. Like, what the fuck is this roster? You could have had Texas Nation, a team that want to play together. You could have had the Cold War champs. You could have had all these other players that wanted to play together rather than like you picking up this person and be like, who's left? Like your decisions as an organization are just fucking terrible.
And to put it into perspective, bro, there's probably more than 24 players in the CDL right now making more than $250,000, right? Paris is putting those players all on minimum contracts and worried about playing, max, let's just say a range of $16,000 to $32,000 to improve on a roster midseason. When you're already paying a fifth of the salaries, like it's honestly just mind blowing. They shouldn't be in the CDL.
Apparently, I still remember there was this thing where they apparently were trying to get it so they could play the CDL and play their matches from France. From Paris.
Yeah, I heard that rumor too. Which everybody was just like, "Listen, man, that's not possible." Everybody's like, "Listen, that's just not going to be possible. Like that's not how things work around here, And it just kind of shows you how out of touch they are. They're so out of touch. They have no idea what's going on. And I don't think they're the only fans. There's a lot of franchise teams, man. Especially when we first got into this franchising shit, that had no clue what the fuck was happening. Literally, they were building teams. They still don't, and the only way they found out was by hiring people that have been in the space that kind of know what the fuck they're talking about. But a lot of these franchise teams are just lost.
Yeah, but it's also like a thing where like I still think. I mean, I'm not gonna complete Grill Theory here because he's obviously a part of the team. But I think Theory, at least, I think I don't think he's out of touch with the scene and stuff like that. I just think his hands are tied. I think a lot of the decisions that that he might want to make, even as a coach, or the players might want to make as players, they're just locked behind the decisions of the upper management and the fact that these organizations will not spend money And rightfully, I can't blame them.
Apox was an assistant coach for
not
free.
Getting paid. Yeah, not getting paid. But
free.
I mean, granted, I can't really judge them to an extensive degree because the CDL isn't the most profitable, so I get it. But at the same time, what the fuck are you investing in this organization for if you're not trying to be successful? Like, you gotta spend money to make money. So I don't know. It's just terrible decisions from the management. I feel terrible for the players and the coaching staff and all that stuff. So just unfortunate.
Oh, yeah, back to, do we want to go over the series?
No, we're not. We don't have to. But I do want to get your thoughts on the Los Angeles Thieves. How did you guys think? I mean, granted, they're playing Paris. First map was a little iffy, close map, but I feel like LA Thieves had the series pretty comfortable, especially in the control. They ended strong. I felt like Kenny, he looked a little bit better. He was taking some routes. I mean, statistically, I don't know what the stats are like. Maybe Pat, you can read them off. But I know LA Thieves, they came out, took care of business today.
Tom, lastly, before we move on from this match, I think I can speak for everyone when I say this should be the last time, at least this year, that we talk about Paris in a match or a Paris involving match, unless there's a drastic upset where it's more so tied to the other teams that are still competitive. It's not a shot at the players. It's more so like the organization is just fucking irrelevant. Like, there's no point in just sitting here bashing it, because I feel like every time that Paris is involved in a match and we do the flank, it's the same fucking thing. We just bash the organization, and to a degree, we also that's got to make the players feel bad. And I don't want to sit here and rag on these players anymore.
Yeah, there's no point.
There's no fucking point. So we're just gonna stop talking about it. If
some of the
Paris
stats
match.
though from this series, Draza performed really well. Octane as well. Kenny's still struggling a little bit. It's not that it mattered much.
He didn't drop the best stats in this one, but he was making plays though. He was taking routes and doing
Kenny beat Kenny, right? I think we are kind of hoping for that. We see some moments, and granted, there's Vanguard where there's it's a hard game to be consistent at. But I mean, we've seen what this team looks like when Kenny is firing on all cylinders, and how monumental of an impact that has for this roster. So yeah, Draza and Sam did their thing today. But I do wanted to bring up, so Paris still have Rocker and Florida. And
that's probably free wins for them, right? Free wins for them.
Possibly, yeah. But when we look at the standings, like an upset either way in either one of those matches could basically play spoiler for either one of those teams. They're both on the cusp. They're both at 120 CDL points, 9/10 right now, with subliners right on their ass. Like, if just saying, if Paris could pull out an upset, I think it would play spoiler and in one of those teams' seasons possibly. So it is something to keep an eye out for. If there is an upset, we can definitely dive into it. But I'm actually hoping though. I mean, I think a big spoiler there would be fun.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with Paris. I personally don't think we're going to see any upsets, just because I just feel like the attitude of the players now, they just kind of lost it. And I also feel bad for players like Tom, right? Like, he finally gets his shot in the league, but look at where he's getting his shot. Like, you take it with a grain of salt, or even the other guys like Johnny, right? This guy's a young guy. This guy's a rookie for these guys. I mean, he's getting thrown into Paris, and it's like, this is their rookie. This is what they get to show in their debut. This is what they get to show when they come to the league. It just sucks, man. Like, to be in this situation, it fucking sucks, man. But listen, LA Thieves, they came out on top. Pretty comfortable win from them. Gonna want to see LA Thieves keeping those wins going. They've had an up and down year, so any win that they can get is always good. But let's hop into the last match of the day. This was the most important match. This one was a really good one, man. We have the New York Subliners going up against Optic, Texas. Obviously, Optic, they have Illy in there now. New York Subliners, they're on the cusp of not making champs. They are undefeated so far on the stage. They have been looking really, really good. They end up taking this one today, 3-1. We start things off with a Bow Cage Hardpoint, Bow Cage S&D, Berlin Control, Berlin Hardpoint, Tuscan Search and Destroy. Pat, Chris, I'll let you guys kick it off. Anything you see in the vetoes? Anything that pisses you off? Anything that you think was smart? Anything at all?
I like the Tuscan Control ban out of New York. I think it was really smart to put them on Berlin. Optic, obviously, yeah, they've been struggling recently on Tuscan. They just have so many more reps, and I kind of like that style for this New York team to square up with them on Berlin Control. Other than that, I mean, pretty solid maps all around. A lot of mixy maps, which we've talked about. Like, now that New York has the Bulldog, I think they kind of are a lot better in those
Kismet's
situations.
Been popping off. This guy, he's been popping off, bro. He's been having an absolute year, dude.
Yeah, and I had mentioned it yesterday, and I know people were like got kind of tight that I said it, but still, I mean, you know, Optic doesn't look that good in hardpoint. Like, to me, I'm not really impressed by their hardpoint at all, and their control is really lackluster.
Yeah, I was gonna say that about their control.
I know I said it was concerning yesterday, but now I think it's to a point where it really is, because if you're looking above average in hardpoint and not good at control, like, you're not going to square up against these top teams and have success. So this series, for me, we were talking about like where we have New York, and we kind of are all agreeing that they are top 4, at least online. We haven't seen it at LAN yet. But yeah, I mean, Optic might be falling outside of that top 4 for me.
What about you, Chris? You agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm pretty close to being in agreement, but the thing is, this is their second series back with Illy, but their control has been lackluster for a while now.
He's been good, by the way, Chris. Illy's been good since he came back.
Oh, and yeah, he's been playing good. But from just a team perspective, they just can't seem to get it going. Like they just haven't been able to keep it together versus like the top teams. Like, even when they had Prolu and stuff like that. But I think my standout, I think this series was just Dashy. Dashy kind of I feel like underperformed when it came to this series, and it hurts them when he's not playing too good, because he's a heavy slayer for them. And when you don't have that guy, putting up kills and stuff like that, like, Crim basically had his number this series.
Like, well, Dashy had his he's been their most consistent probably too throughout the year, right? In terms of numbers. Exactly. So for him to struggle, like, you don't see it often. You don't see it often. So while Illy's thriving in one place, Dashy's kind of just struggling in another. So I think that's kind of the stories of the series. But as far as like where I see them, man, like, if things continue on this path, like, I'm scared for them. They're really good at search, and they will always be good at search, bro. Like, look at their team. But when it comes to the controls, they just haven't been good in a while. And when it comes to the hard point, like, I'm more so scared that they can't hang with the likes of like New York, or even like, I mean, they have had FaZe's number, but like FaZe's hard point's been looking absurd lately too. Like, well, it's not just those teams. Seattle, FaZe, like, New York, all these teams are so good at hard point, like ridiculously good at hard point. That's what keeps them, playing or placing so well. But yeah, I mean, that's just I'm concerned for the team, but I'm not gonna be all doom and gloom yet, considering it's their second series back with this guy, and on top of that, he looks good. They just got to rally together and start pulling together some wins. I'm a little concerned that Seth is their best player. Is that not surprising to you guys? He's literally playing the best out of all of them at currently right now. It's not surprising me at this point in the year, because he's been fantastic all year. He's been doing his thing. Yeah,
it's not really like a drag on Seth, but it's more so saying like the other guys to me aren't playing as good as they should be on this roster. I'm honestly not surprised, bro. I feel like we were actually having the same conversation last year in Cold War. I was like, yo, Scup is the best player on this Optic team.
It's just Scump, dude. Like, it's just Scump, man. He's gross.
Like, he doesn't miss a beat, bro. It doesn't matter how old he's getting. It doesn't matter what game he's playing. Guy's actually disgusting. Yeah. The rest of these young guns, they just got to pick it up, man. Like, they're doing it in S&D. We've seen them do it in Respawn. They just got to be a lot more consistent and start playing with some teamwork and some cohesion in that game mode, because the teamwork they have in S&D is crazy. They just got to translate it to these respawns, man. They're struggling in that aspect.
And they got to figure out the mental, bro. They cannot beat Crim. We've seen it now. This team can't beat Crim. Crim has their number.
You think there's a mental block going on there?
A little bit of a mental block there, bro.
I think so. Well, listen, we'll see.
Dr. Crim respect. I mean, hey.
Listen, we'll get to that in an interview, because Jesus Christ, I don't know what the fuck that was. But let's go into the listening with the New York Subliners and Optic Texas. They did back-to-back listenings in this one. I thought the New York Subliners sounded great, so let's tune in.
Team starting to with you. Nice. I'm watching over here. They could be short, okay? He got me. Oh, yo, he's tunnel. One zone. He's going up to camo, I think. On me gate. Play life. Seth is gate. Yeah. Hold the camera. We play tight for kills here. Let them fuck up. I'm going back window. Yo, he's on our tank. Yeah, time shot. Top house set. Jump pitching, bro. Back to nice up. One more ant top. Low out of me. Stop. Low right bullet. Back step. Low right, guys. Shot me. One shot. He's one shot close corner. He's gonna be camo or something. Dashy.
I don't see him on short. Nice.
He's not here.
He's in kitchen. We killed that shit. We killed that shit.
Two kids. I got one.
On time, dead. Nice job.
One here, front door.
Yo, top gate. Don't tell him. He's on the god.
He's weak. Nice.
I'm this time.
I'm coming to help you. He can be kitch.
He can be top as well.
I'm stunning kitch. Yeah, I stun him kitch.
He's back kitch.
One's mid.
I have your kitchen.
Guy Paco is moving.
I don't see him.
Yo, P2 ender. He's going on front kitchen. Front kitchen zig.
Okay, front kitchen. Watch out.
Yeah. I'm throwing a deep nade over mid. Yo, we going right here? Yo, look over me, Paco.
I don't see front kitchen. Yo, top in tree down.
Okay, I'm going top. Yo.
So that's going to do it for the New York subliners. Let's tune in to Optic Texas and see how they were sounding.
A-plat.
Big door dead.
A-plat, front left.
Hydro dead. I'm staying down. Let's get A-plat.
Right here.
I'm picking up left.
Yeah, one guy's on me. Front door Paul dead. Nice one there. Crim dead. Good shit. Right here. Small dead. Good shit. Soak all this 30. Soak all this 30. Be hard kills.
Yo, nothing left.
Yo, we small door again. Where'd he go?
You went there, I think. I have left, so.
Nice start right time.
Damn. Yeah, Paco's different, man.
Got it.
Keep something inside. Yo, front door Hydra absolute. Right here.
Okay, got that.
And one's under me.
Under you.
Yo, Hydra on the
Rebel mind.
that's four. Alright, play for spawn door here.
Let me back on my side.
Are you? I'm here with you. Top house. Can you get him? I'm waiting for you. He's cutting. Dead. Good shit.
I'm trying to get to the house. Hydra. Dead.
Nice. Two. Back castle. Wait, one more.
Back on. Crims P1.
We're missing someone. We're missing someone. Dead. Let's go. Where do you go?
Back on, let's go.
Mid-street kids. Last guy mid-street. Jump right here. He's on time. We're on time. Kids.
And that's gonna do it for Optic Texas. So comp sounded pretty good on both sides, but I think we can all agree that Hydra was just had everybody's number in this map. Number one, man. You could just see it in the gameplay, even in both listenings. He was all over the map, man. Switching lanes, constant pieces. Go ahead, Chris.
I know we were always high on Hydra and stuff like that, and I think Shotzi up until probably recently is probably was definitely the best SMG player in the game at the moment. But I think Hydra's on his tail, if not has overtook him. I think the only player, at least in this qualifier, just in this current stage, the only other person that's even kind of close is Nero. Simp. I think Simp and Nero.
What about Nero?
Yeah.
Wait.
Simp and Nero. You're right.
You guys are both faded. I got to interrupt. The best SMG right now in the game currently is Pred. It's a fact. It's Pred.
Is it?
Yeah. He's literally constantly 1.2s in his series win or lose. He was the MVP at the last major, and he kept that.
I mean, I didn't exactly say he was the best.
I could see that argument, but I'm also saying
right now, like currently in Major 4, Pred, in my opinion, is the best SMG. That
but they're also
can change, but I think we do have to say Pred is the best.
Pred is definitely up there, and he was the best at the last major. But I'm saying like they're not winning matches. Like I'm not saying he's not impactful. I'm saying like the other teams and players are winning matches. So I'm going to give the slight edge to those guys. But I mean, like regardless,
Sib and Mac are throwing up next 30s, baby.
That is true. That is true. But hey, man, regardless, I think the conversation right now, like at least in this qualifier, best SMG players got to be Pred, Hydra, Nero, and Simp. In my opinion, are probably the best ones that we've seen in this qualifier so far. Simp has been disgusting too.
They've all been good as fuck. They've all been insane. Simpy running an AR on fucking Gav and piecing up. You know,
he's the I don't know. He's like a third AR.
He's like a third AR.
He does what Seth does on Gav. They just put an auto.
Yeah, in terms of like main sub role position, like when I think of main sub, I think of like that high end, like that super aggressive guy up top. Some teams have two of those guys. Some teams have one. Like I feel like
Shotzi, Pred, Abizi.
Yeah. Like for me, bro, I don't know, man. Hydra to me, and I've been talking about this kid since he came to New York. He's just different, man. Like when you watch him play, he glides. He just glides through the map, and even just looking at him from other people's POV, the way that he challenges gunfights, he's just a hard kill, man. And I just feel like he's one of those players that he's just impactful as fuck, man.
I think he's undoubtedly top 4, and that's why this New York team is so good, because they do have a sub who is in that top 4 conversation. You know, either way you want to put him, 1, 2, 3, or 4, he's in that combo, and that's why, you know, having that, you need that, I think, in Cold War, or not Cold War, sorry, in Vanguard. You need to have an SMG player who can be that effective. Like we talked about when he got Kismet, like he kind of got another player who's kind of can be in that upper echelon of players, and I think that's why New York has really, really turned around their respawn.
Yeah, and we could take a look at the scoreboard here. Kismet is in the chat saying he got smoked. I mean, he went 32 and 43, so he had a lot of deaths there, but he was putting that damage down, and he was doing what he had to do. So I don't think you got smoked that bad. Not as bad as you think so, Kisme.
I think Kiz for Hydra is kind of the same as like the Nero Vivid. Like, you know, they're really good on their own, but when you put them together, it really creates that impact.
Yeah. And you can see Paul, right? Paul X is another one, 33 and 27. Porter, 25 and 29, do what he's got to do. But Paul's another one who was on London. And Pat, you were always saying how London made a mistake. They should have never let Paul go. You were saying that since day one.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think, you know, we talked about it yesterday, how Kiz kind of had the game ball in that series. But I think today, Paul, like, if I had to give a game ball, it's Paul. He fried every single map in this series. And to me, it's just his consistency, bro. He's been super, super fucking consistent since he came on this team as a massive backbone for this roster. And so, yeah, I mean, we're kind of gassing every player on the team, and that's kind of what it looks like when a team is performing so well. I mean, they're having such a dominant stage. And yeah, I mean, it takes a combined effort out of all four guys. So
their hard point is just flawless, dude. Like it's ridiculous how like it's ridiculous the level of hard point they've been able to keep up as a team. Even like Crim, dude, the older player on the team, like he has his maps too where he's just popping off. Like their entire team just looks really good, and they're performing as good as you know, we all initially thought they would perform on paper. They just got to translate it to the major, man. Like that's the thing that worries me. It's like it would suck if like you make it this far, put yourself in this type of position, and then you go to the major and a repeat happens. Like they haven't won a map at a major. Granted, they played actually no, not a match. A match, right? A match.
That was undoubtedly the best hardpoint team right now. Like either way, I would give them the best hardpoint team in the game currently.
Yeah, but I feel like New York, they definitely have to do it on LAN. And I don't know what's been their hurdle on LAN, but maybe it's like a comfortability thing. But I definitely think this team can do what they're doing on LAN.
You know what I think it is? I just think they need to win the first series, bro. I think it's such a momentum thing for this team. Like
shit.
Every series they came, even when they come in winter bracket, they lose like a nail biter, like grueler. Like I think they really just need to put everything they have into winning that first series, and if they do that, I think they'll have the momentum and the confidence to just roll through the bracket.
Paul in chat says they figured it out. It won't happen again. All right, we'll see, buddy. I'm rooting for you guys.
Yeah, rooting for you guys too. I want to see them. I really want to see them make champs. But let's get into the boat cage S&D, man. We had 2 boat cages to start things off. I thought Paul was gonna have this for a second, so I like the setup from Illy and Shotzi here. They kind of have Shotzi just holding Illy's cross so nobody can flank him, and then Illy's just kind of holding the bomb site. They know they have bomb down, but they let Paulie get on the site here. They let him get the plant down. They end up spotting him, and they just don't make their move in time. So Paul, he stays on, gets the plant, but a really good retake coming out of Illy and Shotzi. They're able to just hop on the site and just take the round. So good plays there. I thought Paul might have been able to do something there.
Yeah, it was a tough situation. I was surprised that he didn't, because, I mean, bro, we know how fast the TTK is in Vanguard. I was surprised he didn't just jump out on the corner and just start pre-firing the guy defusing. Like, fuck the guy on the heady. Like, if you can just get 2 bullets off, like, a headshot, maybe 3 if you need it.
Yeah, but there was still so much time. There was still 33 seconds left. He probably would have got traded if he did that, no? Eventually.
Imagine if he went to that door.
I was just surprised.
Imagine after he took like the gunfight on the guy on the heady and then ran away to the door, he just started wallbanging and got the kill.
There's no way he's winning that, bro.
I mean, I was saying that he maybe should have tried to plan for a spot where he could see it like mid L or see it from top barn, or not top barn, top house. You know what I'm saying? When you go top house in the window, you could kind of see the bomb sticking out. If he were to play for that, it might have been doable. But anyway, Optic ended up clutching up that round, and this was the round that did it for me, man. This is where New York just fucking, I thought this map was over right after this one. Getting to the 4th round here, it's going to be a 4v2, or no, is this the round where NYSL troll? It might have been the next one. Oh no, it was the next one. Sorry, excuse me. The 1-3 round, bro. This was bad, man. Did you guys see this? This was big wins from Scump in this round. Scump was just able to find a couple kills in this one. Just kind of roaming the map, doing what he does. He's looking comfortable. But this round right here, New York Subliners, they have a 4v2 here. They're able to get a couple bloods. Optic's going to get that bomb down. It's Illy and Scump. And look at how Illy and Scump set this one up. They kind of just sit here, low house, like low tool area, and they just kind of back up here. They play corner to corner here in cages. And look at this setup. I'm sitting here, and I'm like, there's no way, right? But look what New York did. They decided to hop the bomb. They didn't clear this out. They didn't even check this. They don't even have anybody looking at it. Then you see 1 kill coming in from Scump. He's going to shoot him off the bomb. Hydra jumps in. Illy's in the corner. And then Illy just shits on Paulie. My bad, Paul. I know you're in the chat, but my bad, bro. Illy comes in hot, and then just like that, Scump's in a 1v1 situation. He clutches up and gets the glide bomb. And then once he gets the glide bomb, once they clutch the 2v4, this one's just all over. The Optic was pretty comfortable after this.
I feel like they didn't like coordinate at all. Paul was still across the map when they hit out on the site. Like they weren't together to trade out effectively. I think that's why Paul got shit on right there, because he came into a situation
where he didn't even know what was going on.
The play. Yeah. Like they hit, like, look, Paul, number one is literally rotating back barn, and they're hitting an A site. Like I feel like they should have just coordinated that.
He had a pistol. Dude, Paul was like that Donald Glover fucking gif where he just like shows up and like the whole room's on fire.
Yeah. That is just a fucking battle going on in this fucking house. He opens up the door and holy shit, you got fucking Ender sliding around and shit. He's only got a pistol, so just a really good round from Illy and Scump. I thought they played that fantastic. They end up going 1-4, and then once again the streak comes down from Scump in this one. They get a first blood, and they roll away with this one. Once they won that round, I said, okay, this shit's all over. I think New York was able to win one more round after this, but ultimately it ended up being 6-2. Finish. Really good plays coming out of the Optic boys to take the S&D. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard. 11-6 from Paul just wasn't enough. The rest of the squad negative, just having a rough one, right? Nobody from New York can really get kills. Except for Paul, and then on the other side, it's 11-5 from Scump, man. You know, he's doing what he can right now, man. Scump's doing what he can, and it is super admirable to see him, you know, this late in his career still doing shit like this. You know, still being that superstar that he is, and fucking.
Wasn't his birthday like yesterday or last week or something?
Yeah, his birthday was very, very recent. I think it was like a few days ago. So happy birthday to Seth. If I haven't told you, I'm pretty sure I told him, but happy birthday. And good map for them, from the Optic boys. They come out, they tie the series up 1. I'm thinking we're about to have a series on our fucking hand, but then we get into the control, and this was just completely one-sided, man. I mean, New York, they came out to fucking play. And it starts with them winning the defense, right? They go up 1-0, a pretty comfortable defense from them, but let's just go into the first offense from New York and look at the break-off, because this guy Hydra just ran through the middle of the map and killed the whole fucking team right off the break of the round, man. And we'll just kind of show you guys how he does it. You can take a look at your mini-map. He's going to be number 2. He's going to start working towards mid here. I'm not sure if he dies first. He gets 1. That's going to be a big trade onto Shotzi. He's going to slide around the corner, takes Illy down on the stairs, gets the trade onto Scump. That's 3. Then he's going to slide and burn onto Dashy. That's 4 dead. Paco already gets his team right off the rip in 15 seconds onto this B point. They're able to get a lot from this, man. They're able to get a lot of power position. They're able to get pushed up on the map. And because of that breakoff from the New York subliners, they're able to work the whole point here. Opt to get in with just a slither left. They're able to stop it. And then I think it's Mr. Paul X who comes in and picks up 2. Big 2-piece coming out from Mr. Paul. And that's going to cap the beat point right after this round. I mean, that's the offense right there, man. To 15 seconds, the offense is done. There's no way Optic can hold this B point with 2 minutes left. Right, guys? I don't think so. Now, have you seen any team hold the A point when they lost B? I'm yet to see a team do it. Just because of those spawns, right? Like, if you get kills from... If Optic get kills here, New York just spawns so close. And it could just keep playing onto that site. So, this one was pretty much chalked up fast. New York, they come out with the defense. New York subliners on the offense, they go up 2-0. And then after that, we get into the last round. And this is where NYSL were able to close it out and take the control 3-0. What do you think happened in this one for Optic? For me, it's just the slaying power again from New York. They're just winning every fight. Every fight, it just seems like New York had the upper hand, and I think that's what's going to happen when you're a team full of momentum and confidence.
I like the way Optic played it though. Like on some of their rounds, like they didn't like capitalize or execute properly, but like they had the right idea. They were like on their offensive rounds, they were reading the flank. They were always having a guy positioned somewhere around the trains, trying to make sure that like Hydra or like Kismet weren't able to like get through to like the back trains. You know what I mean? How like teams like to push that out. And they were doing a pretty good job of it, but they just couldn't capitalize on their kills, and the rounds were that they needed to win were just taking too long. I think New York, although it was dominant in terms of the round count, like some of these rounds, if a situation would have played out slightly different, I think Optic could have had a chance to win some of these rounds.
Agreed, Pat. Any final thoughts on the map?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I mean, when looking at Optic, like when you veto against Optic, they're a tough team to veto against for sure. They're 5-1 before this, 5-1 in Berlin, 6-0 in Givu2, and 14-5 in Tuscan for control. And so, like, when you look at it on paper, like none of these picks look good. But I really, really do like the fact that since they kind of know that like New York's pretty good Gav team, that I think Optic ended up vetoing it. And so New York banned Tuscan and we ended up on Berlin. I kind of like that, just like jump on Berlin. It's kind of like they felt they were out slaying them and had them in respawn, and it's kind of like a shark in the water when they smell blood, and they just went for it on one of Optic's better maps. And I think more teams need to do this now in Control, because they're realizing Optic's not that Control kind of dominant team that they were before. And yeah, just kind of when you play Optic, honestly ignore those map pools and just and play a map that you think they're not as strong as their stats may say they are.
Yeah, we'll take a look at.
I was going to agree with you on that, because my bad, Tom.
Oh, you
I just
go
wanted to touch on this. So I agree with you in that sense, because Berlin's one of those maps that although it's Control, and we know Control is for the most part, besides this map, is all defensive side and stuff like that. Just get Optic off the maps where it's they're guaranteed rounds. Because their Control is just looking so weak right now that you play them on an evenly matched Berlin. I think the better team should always win that map in comparison to a Gavutu or a Tuscan, especially Tuscan, because that was their strongest map by far before. So
we can take a look at the final scoreboard. 24-15 from Kismet, the Bulldog, coming out to play, ladies and gentlemen. This guy's been absolutely fantastic for these guys. 21-15 from Paul. He's been pulling his weight. And on the other side, everybody negative from Optic. Just the slang power. They just couldn't get kills. It just wasn't looking good for them in the Control. Name was put in the chat that Optic are faded for playing Boat Cage. What do y'all think about that?
Can you go back to see what the videos are? I don't remember what the hardpoint video was.
Yeah, I gotta look one more time.
Yeah, we could go take a look at it. Let's see real quick what they vetoed exactly.
I think it was
Optic vetoed Tuscan, I believe. Yeah, Optic vetoed Tuscan, and New York vetoed Gavitu, and then for the S&D, New York vetoed Berlin, and Optic vetoed Desert Siege. I don't mind Optic playing Boat Cage that much.
That's a troll, though.
That is a troll.
Because New York's not that good at Tuscan.
They're not?
Bro,
what's their record on? They're 3-9 on Tuscan. So why did Optic? I thought Tuscan was a good map for Optic.
Hold on. Let's
it used to be.
Listen. Since I did say FaZe did it, we will kind of say Optic's guaranteed, just like FaZe is. Ray's obviously mentioned this before about expanding their map pool. They obviously have Illibag. They could be doing the same thing. I mean, when you're in the situation where you're auto qualified for champs, you don't mind expanding your map pool.
I don't know, Pat.
NY's 9 out of 10 in their last boat cages. There's no way you let that in when they're 3-9 on Tuscan, unless you're just.
I'm pretty sure
Ray was off the Henny this morning.
I'm pretty sure they might have been banning Tuscan in the majority of their series, this entire stage, even when they had Pro Loot. Do you think they lost some of that hardpoint Tuscan magic they used to have?
Either way, bro. New York is 3-9 on Tuscan and 9 out of 10 on Boat Cage. Why would you reverse that? That's
a terrible play.
I mean, they're definitely not expanding map pool, Pat, because this is for bracket. There's no way. I shouldn't
say expanding map pool as well. I'm sure they think they're going to be competitive against New York regardless. But instead of saying expanding map pool, they feel that they may need to get better on Boat Cage. They might be thinking down the road they're going to have to be Boat Cage. In the beginning of the game, we talked about it. Boat Cage was literally Optic and FaZe's playground, and I think a lot of teams are catching up. Definitely. New York is obviously a dominant Boat Cage team. We talk about Boston. Maybe Optic want to get kind of back into their Boat Cage form. Either way,
New York
I disagree
is the
with
best Boat Cage team.
No, yeah. Well, they're the best hardpoint team, period. But
yeah, that's true.
But I'm saying I agree with it. I mean, I think it was the wrong play. But I'm just trying to look at a reason why, and the only thing I could think of is hey, FaZe obviously was expanding their pool, or not expanding, we shouldn't say that, just practicing their weaker maps.
Yeah.
And maybe New York was or maybe Optic was kind of in the same boat. So
maybe knows, I personally think with them on the cusp of winners bracket or not, I mean, I don't see why they would try that here. I could see people doing that or bullshit if they have winners and they're locked for champs, right? And
do they still have a chance at making winners?
I don't know. Yeah, they would have to win the next Friday. They'd have to keep.
What are they? Are they 1-2?
They're 1-3 right now, Pat. I believe.
Yeah.
Damn, Optic is ass, baby. That team is top 6 at best.
You think so?
I was actually saying that to Pat. I'm like, listen, man, I'm still an Optic believer in terms of them, the talent of the team and stuff like that. But if you look at their performances, granted, yeah, they had Pro Loot, Illy's been injured. These guys are not looking at least up to the standards that you would think they place. I think they look like a top 6 team, at the moment, in terms of the way they've been playing. It's I'm not saying that to be a hater. It's true. Like they've gone to the major, they've placed top 6, they've come back from the major. They haven't been performing. They get Illy back, and there's some life there, but it's nothing crazy yet. So I'm scared for them.
Some life? There ain't no life. They beat Paris. That ain't no life.
I'm saying in some of their matches, like their maps, like they're not getting 100-point club.
They're 0-3. I don't even count the Paris win. This team is 0-3 right now.
Realistically, they're in a slump, and they're gonna have to get out of it. Do they have the talent to do so? Of course, bro. I mean, we've seen some of the things they were gonna do this year. It's just right now they're not playing like themselves, and they're gonna have to keep sticking at it. They obviously have Illy back. He's always been in there for a couple games. They're just gonna have to keep going back to the drawing board and hounding on some of the mistakes they're making. Because even in this map, man, we get into the Berlin hardpoint. And just too many mistakes, man. They were down by 60 going into the second rotation, and Optic were able to lock this whole hill down. And it was mainly because Scump was just locking this shit down with an automaton, putting some beams. He was actually really close here to getting a missile, but he ends up falling, I believe, to Mr. Paul X right here. He doesn't realize Paul is pushed up. Scump goes down. So Optic bring this one all the way back. But it's those P3s again, man, that are just hurting teams. Optic got broken on the first P3, and they super hard rotated to it as well. So not only are they chalking up time and rotating and getting broken, but they do it again. We go to the next P3 once again. You can kind of see it starts with Dashy. He's in the back. You can see number 5 on your minimap. He wins a big one, and he's going to secure those spawns for Optic. But just look at how this collapses so fast for them. They have one guy pushed out. They have 2 guys pushed out, actually, and they both go down right away. That's going to leave number 8 in the hill, Scump, by himself. And I mean, Scump just has too much to watch. Now he has to watch fire because everybody just dropped. I just don't know why Optic is over-challenging on rotation. You know, like they need to somehow just play corners and work some of these kills. Just the way they ran at the old hill. It just, you can see right Shotsy. He's mid-map. He's running at him. He's getting super aggro, and there's no time left. So for him to just go run away from that heady, that tank heady, I didn't think it was the best play. Illy gets soloed out and fired.
Ben wants you to go back to before that setup started, like 30 seconds before, and see how that was set up to begin with.
Yeah, sure. So it starts with New York, right? They get into this P2. A pretty scrappy hill, to be honest. It was going back and forth, a lot of trades. Hydra was doing a great job up top on the balk, you know, picking up kills and just trying to make this hill pretty mixy. He was by himself here, so he delayed a lot of time for his team. If he would have stayed alive there, Jesus fucking Christ. But we could kind of see how the rotation comes in. Optic still have those fire spawns. Dashy's going to back all the way up just to make sure to secure it. It's going to start with Kisme, right? He's going to try and make a play onto Bruce, and Bruce is just going to get a big play there, big one-on-one. That's going to secure the spawns. And honestly, there wasn't really anything crazy. Optic just had the spawns the whole time. What did Ben want me to see? Optic had the fire spawns the whole hill. Ben, listen, Ben, Ben, you want to say something? You join the call, brother, man.
Keep playing it. I'm watching it happen. Keep going.
Yeah, this is what happens. Shotsy over Chow's, like I said, and then Inder gets picked out fire. Look at Scump now. Now he's got his front open, his fire open. He's like, oh shit, here we go. One here, boom, boom. But he doesn't know what the fuck to do.
Number 7 and number 6 should have been doing something together. Number 7 hits scrap time basically, and number 6 just gets isolated in fire. Like they just were picked out individually.
Shotsy can literally right now lay down and look under the crack of the tank and just stay alive. Just look under the crack, get some info, like play like a weird off-angle corner, but he's trying to do too much. He ends up running at him. He dies. And then Inder's in fire, moving around too much. He's peeking left. He's peeking right. He ends up getting bad timing. He gets on the side.
Pray, dude.
Yeah, like, or just play, or just get 2 guys holding the street and just play tight on the site with Seth. Like just play tight there.
Shotsy went rogue though. There was no point to hit scrap at all.
Nah, and this is what I'm talking about. Optics, they're just making brain. Bro, we mentioned this in Cold War too. We used to talk about it all the time. It was never Optics' talent. Sometimes they just do stuff like that. And like I said, listen, it is a lot easier to sit here on the flank and talk about these mistakes. Obviously, in a game, when you're micromanaging so many different things, mistakes are going to happen, and people are going to black out, and people are going to brain fart. And it is what it is.
Some of these players might have mentals where they're spawning up, they're hitting the scoreboard, seeing a name on the other team, and just not making the right decisions. We've seen it a lot.
They see Porter 11 and 15, and they see Porter 11 and 15, and they're shitting their pants. Yeah, for sure.
It's the name that's scary, not the stat line, Tom.
Yeah, hey, the name. Hey, Porter is a scary name to be going up against. Not really for me. You know, he used to steal my routes. Not for me, but for some people, you know what I'm saying? Some people, you know, it didn't work out, but you could kind of see how it got away from them, right? I mean, after that break, NYSL, they go up 60. And then I love the play that Kisme makes right here. They just push to the front. They work the trades. They're able to get Optic off this hill. And Kismet, he just pushes up train, he gets those power positions, and this is kind of where New York just kind of steamroll through the rest of this and kind of win the rest of this map. So just you know, some mistakes, man. And it wasn't even that second P3 from Optic, it was the first one as well. They just over rotate to it, and it ended up costing them, man. If you're gonna over rotate to hard points, you have to hold them. Like, you have to. You're gonna give up 20-30 of scrap. And then if you get broken instantly, I mean, that's you know, 40, 50, 60, however many fucking points just going to the other team.
We hear Illy talk about in their listings, man. He's holding an iron. Well, you got to hold a little bit more irons there, because if you get thrown away,
just stop moving so much. Well, like, play corners, play creddies. Like, that's what they're best at. That's what Shotzi's best at.
There was a listening from New York on Bocage. I think it was Kiz. He said, let them fuck up.
Yeah, let them fuck up. Yep.
A lot of teams are kind of, you know, when they play teams like Optic, they kind of play with that pace and style. I mean, that's a great mentality to have in hardpoint, right? Like, you know that they're prone to make mistakes because of their aggression. Bro, yeah, just let them fuck up and then take advantage of it when they do. So I think that kind of was a part of that right there, and something that other teams should probably pick up on as, you know, the season ends. Comes to an end.
And we could kind of see how New York was able to do it, man. They just hold on to this third P1. They play corners and hill, just really good plays. They get there early. They hold their rotation, and just like that, the New York Subliners, they win the series 3-1. We'll take a look at the final scoreboard. Paulie, 25-25, 24-24 from Hydra. Only one negative was Porter, but Kismet, 29-26 again. The Bulldog just making a name for himself, man. And I'm happy for the kid, man, because he's always been a good player. He's just never had the right people around him, and now he's just really starting to show people what he can do. On the other side, once again, just the slaying power not there. Shotzi, he was trying to pull some weight, 27-24. Dashy probably lagged out.
Dashy leaving lobbies. Crim's got Dashy leaving lobbies.
Is he leaving, or are people lagging out? Because people been lagging out as shit.
I'm going with leaving. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with
Don't tell that
leaving.
to Ben Janessine. Ben hates when people leave the lobby.
What was the stat line before the match and map ended? Any knowers?
We could take a look. I mean, Dashy was 20-18 towards the end of this one. I mean, he wasn't having a bad map.
Nah, he wasn't having a bad map.
He was just pissed off, bro. He's just fucking pissed off. He's losing a Porter. This guy's got a fucking wig on his head.
Well, his Valorant match probably queued up and was starting, so we had to alt F4 and get into it.
Wait, that is some New York efficiency. Their kills were pretty much even. They won that fucking map by like 100.
Chris, what was I saying,
Look at this guy.
When I talked about the difference of New York and like Seattle like has to outslay to win. But a team like New York, and we saw this with Empire, right, a few years ago, and Crim's always had this mentality. Like, the kills don't matter as long as you're playing right. And I think as long as they're kind of enforcing that logic, you know, they're able to win, and that's probably the most impressive thing about their hardpoint and why they're so good at it.
Yeah, they don't have to have guys pop off. When they do, it's a bonus, but
yeah,
you don't have to.
It's a 100-point game win, yeah.
Yeah, you could kind of see Porter at the end of this one. God knows what the fuck was going through this guy's head, but let's tune into the interview with Crimsix and see what he had to say post-game interview.
First of all, you look spectacular right now.
That's actually a vibe.
Where'd you get that from? Party USA?
This is me in Gunfights versus Dashy. Everyone else on Optic, you know, taking my soul.
All right, Crim, listen, dude, you've been on a mission. You guys are undefeated. You're trying to go flawless. But this is a weird situation for you to be in, right? Like, you've been at every champs. Yes. You've won a ton of championships. How has this time been for you when, like, possibly might not make it to champs?
Repeat the last part of that question. I'm sorry. I had my incredible teammates that, you know, carry me daily. They were talking, so.
Like, how's it been on you mentally as a player that you might not make it to champs? How has that changed your approach or fire towards Call of Duty?
Well, you know what I'm gonna have to say to that? False, bitch. Because this shit, we're making it, all right? It does not matter, okay? If we win Major 4, if we, sorry, I'm excited, all right?
He was talking like he had a 1.3 and they show his stats.
I can tell by your face that you're offended.
0.89.
I sincerely apologize. Okay, he's good. Yeah, no, but honestly, our goal isn't to, you know, outplace other teams. It's not to get top 8. You know, I told the team, I was like, guys, shift your focus. Who cares about champs? You know, sorry, CDL, right? We're going for the 2 wins. No other team has won 2 events this whole year.
That's
Who's
true.
done it?
You trying to be the back-to-back right now?
FaZe has gotten second a whole bunch. By the way, thanks for throwing yesterday, guys. Really appreciate it.
Hey, yo, Crim,
that really wasn't very green wall of you.
See, told you.
I feel it. Hey, yo, Crim, I just got to say it outright. You look like a thick Dr. Disrespect. But, yo, question for you, man. Next, you're going against... I'm sorry. Next, you're going against...
That's fair.
You're going against the LA Thieves next. My question to you is, what's the game plan? What's the philosophy? What are we expecting in this matchup, baby?
The same as usual. I'm trying to think of something to, you know, be funny about. Maybe I'll give Nate Shot a call. You know, maybe I'll get, you know, I think Spencer plays golf with them.
He does, yeah.
I might have to be like, Spencer, I need you on your A game today, pal. I need you.
Crim, listen. All right, so it's your home major next. You're going to be in New York, right? Playing in front of the fans. I don't remember ever having a New York Call of Duty event. So what do you got to say to these New York fans? Like, what do you want them to be screaming in that crowd? Because it's been a while since you've been a crowd favorite.
We need some good chants, too.
Listen, man, I'm going crazy, all right? I'm bringing this back to, like, 2008 hype, all right?
Hey.
You remember Snoopy?
Yes, I do. Remember iBad?
I'm going to that level. Extreme gamer.
This guy's a moron, bro. This guy's an absolute moron.
If you're not chanting, if you're not yelling, if you're not screaming,
lunatic, by the way.
This guy's going to give you a tap on the shoulder. Get the fuck out. All right?
Yep.
Get out of here.
All right, and on that note, Crim, get that. Thank you for the interview. We'll see you later.
Peace out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the Crimsix interview, or whatever the fuck you want to call that. I don't even know if that's an interview.
For those of you guys that aren't in tune with Call of Duty lore, and you guys probably wouldn't know about this guy unless you played Snoopy.
That guy?
Snoopy was basically this so back in the day we used to do GBs and that was like the thing, right? And so he was a part of the COD community back then. He'd play a lot of GBs and stuff like that. And he was friends with like a lot of the pro players at the time, or the S&D kids at the time. So all he would do was he would join lobbies of 8s basically at the time, or matches or whatever the hell was going on, and he would scream, "I'm coming through," and just start RPGing people. And just team killing. And
what's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with this? Who the fuck was this guy?
He's a true maniac, bro.
Yeah, he would go, "I'm coming through," and then there are certain people that used to start like mimicking him and stuff like that. It was pretty funny back in the day.
I for sure did that at least once.
Oh, 100%. I used to. I would join 8s too sometimes. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm coming through." Just,
the times, man. The good days. The fucking good days.
The funny thing is, Tom, this is another thing about it, right? So back in the day, if you couldn't like lock a lobby properly, it would be invite only. So people would still invite them, and no one would know who was inviting them. But it'd be somebody, it'd be one of your own boys in the lobby, just trolling everyone, inviting them to the lobby.
I would lose fucking full. I would lose fucking
dude,
full.
Who the fuck is inviting him, dude?
Yeah, dude. You know what? No, what's funny too is I'd be that guy inviting him all the fucking time, bro. Just fucking around and inviting this guy.
Just to fuck around.
But let's get into the standings, man. Let's take a look at this shit. Look at New York, man. Look at them go. Look at them go. They're getting it. They're climbing. They're at 110. They're only 25 points off. I mean, hey, that win against FaZe yesterday was massive for LAG. Massive.
Yeah.
It's giving them a little bit more of a cushion, but at the end of the day, man, the major is going to be...
I think that was their last win, though, Tom.
Like you think so, pal? You think that was their last win?
I think that's their last one. I think they go 0-2 here out, and then they lose the major right away.
Think about it, man. Think about it. Right here, if New York just outplays Florida and Rocker at the major, they should be good, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you got to think like Rocker and Mutineers. Let's see, they both play Paris, so that's either a free dub for both of them, or Paris, like we said, potentially plays spoiler. I hope so. I doubt it. Let me look at the schedule though to see what the other games are for them. So we have right here. Let's see. We got Florida plays Paris, and then Florida plays Thieves. So that Thieves game is going to be really tough for them. Rocker plays Seattle and then Paris. So that Seattle game is really tough. So like both these teams could probably get a free dub off Paris, and then but probably both of them lose their other one. So that puts them where best case 130. New York has another game. They play the Thieves. I'm taking New York in that. So I'm assuming, you know, New York's going to end this kind of online qualifier 10 points behind those two teams. And then, yeah, like you said, a one outplacing at the major will solidify them being ahead. So it kind of just comes down to where, you know, what happens to Gorillas, and that could potentially be our top 8.
I mean, day by day, Pat, they're getting closer. Like this, when you look at this now, like they're close. They're right there. That's it. They're there. Yeah. they're good. Like once they get to the major, if they outplace these guys, if they have a good major run, that's it. Like they're gonna get up there into that top 8, and they still have more matches to play. And like you said,
how many points can you earn at the major? Like not like by winning, but like let's say you have like a decent run.
If you get
65?
if you get top 4, what do you get? If you get top 4, how many points do you get there?
Probably like 30.
I don't know how the breakdown works, you know? Like
even that's still tight, dude. Like they have to win this match.
65, 50.
65, 50. Yeah, people were saying 30. A few people were coming in saying 30. Somebody said 40.
That's still such a tight window. Like they have to win this match, and then like at very least, like,
somebody put in the chat
top 4. Right?
Somebody put in chat. You get 40 for top 3. You get 30 for top 4.
Yeah, so they have to win this next match, and at the very least, basically place top 4.
I don't think that's that crazy. I don't think that's that crazy, Chris.
You know what's actually crazy though is that there's a really really high chance there's a tie, and if there's a tie,
what happens in a tie? What the fuck happens?
I don't know what happens in a tiebreaker for champs.
It's doable, Tom, but like think about this, right? Granted, they're close to at least completing half of the end result that we're discussing right now.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, if you're not looking at it from like hindsight right now, or like think about this, you have to have a team that traditionally hasn't had the best performances and is at the bottom of the stage. Granted, it's a new roster. Go undefeated in a stage and place top 4.
I know. Hey, Chris, they're doing it, baby. They're fucking doing it, bro.
They're fucking doing it.
The New York Subliners are gonna fucking do it. I've been saying this for weeks. I've been fucking saying it for weeks, man. I don't know what it is. I had a dream one day that they were just gonna do it. I don't know why. I have a feeling. I just have a feeling that's just some weird shit is gonna happen. Like they just gonna make the run, and Crimsix is somehow gonna make it into champs, and it's just gonna be a whole fucking thing. And every day they're getting closer. Every day, I feel like it's coming true. I can't give up on them now, Chris. I can't. I gotta keep it going now.
I'm honest, man. I'm right there with you, man.
You know, it's like it's just crazy to me, man. The fact that they're even 10 points, just not even just being 20 points off of being like 9/10 is crazy. They were really down there, bro. You know, they didn't have any points.
We're being positive right now, but dude, this just pisses me off. They waited so long.
Yeah, no, seriously, they waited way till they were doing trials and this and the boom with the stupid shit. These teams knew what they wanted to do, and listen, it's their fault. They waited too long. And, you know, I also don't think the roster they came out with to start the year did them any favors either, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but that could have been fixed really quick. We kind of saw where that team was at after.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you make bad decisions. You got to make sure that you're making the right decisions, man, because you know you're gonna have to make changes in the middle of the year, bro. Like it's better to start the year good because you don't have to worry about this shit. You know, when it gets to that later half in the year. It's always a good feeling when you're comfortably in champs and you don't have to worry about that. So, you know, some of these teams, they figure it out. They just figure it out too late. And that's why you got to be smart with your team decisions, man. You got to make sure it makes sense. Atlanta FaZe next Friday go up against London. That's going to be a fire match to kick things off. FaZe versus London. London's been looking incredible. FaZe, they obviously lost to LAG. So, you know, they're looking to bounce back because they didn't look like themselves last series. So excited to see that one. You got FaZe 3-1 in that one, Pat?
Yeah.
What do you got, Chris? Who do you got? You got London or FaZe?
I'm riding with the Royal Ravens the entire split, so I'm gonna throw it to the Ravens on the upset.
So you think they're going undefeated?
Ravens?
Hey, they might. Yeah. Hey, maybe. Who knows? Who the fuck knows?
I'm not really too much of a person to go super serious on predictions. It's more one of the things. I'm riding with the Ravens, man. Like they've been doing good. They've been winning all the matches I predicted them to win. So I'm just gonna keep riding the train.
I'll go with FaZe. I'll go with FaZe 3-2. I think it's going to be a nail-biter. I think it's going to be a close match. It could go either way with the way these teams have been playing, especially on fucking Vanguard. I just don't know what the fuck's going to happen. But, you know, I got to go with my guys over at FaZe. And then we get into the next one. We get the Florida Mutineers going up against Paris. I'll probably be playing fucking Crunker or something during that match. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it. What do you guys think? You guys going to watch that shit then?
I'm going to watch it just because I hope my boy Donnie is playing and gets a spoiler win against the Mutineers.
It would be crazy if they did that. That would be fucking nuts.
Of all teams I think Paris can beat, I think Florida is in that conversation, right? They haven't looked good. They made a horrible roster change. Yeah, they beat Rocker, but I'm not high on the Mutineers. So of one team I think Paris can beat, of all of them, I think it is Florida.
Yeah, and
but
then
I'm probably going Florida.
What about you, Chris? You Florida, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's going with Paris here, bro.
Florida. On that match.
And then we got the Seattle Surge going up against the Minnesota Rocker, which I also think is a big one because Rocker's right there. They're on the cusp. They're close, man. They got to get some wins. And they're going up against a tough team here, man. Seattle Surge is no walk in the park. So this is going to be a really good match, man. Personally, I think Minnesota needs this one. I feel like when a team is on the line and they really need a dub, Seattle, they're chilling right now. They're in the top 3 when it comes to the points. So I feel like Minnesota's going to come out and get the dub here. I'll go 3-1 on this one. I'll go 3-1. Seattle, they're obviously a good team, but, you know, there's ups and downs in this game, man. A lot of these teams have struggled to stay consistent. I think Minnesota Rocker could come out and get the W that day. But who do you guys got?
This is just a battle of who's been the most inconsistent team of the stage, man. Like, both these teams look good in the last qualifier. Obviously, Seattle won in the last major and looked in the qualifier. Both these teams have just been wildly inconsistent this entire stage and just not playing up to I think their standards. I'm going to give the edge to Surge, but by no means do I think this is going to be like a clean game. And honestly, it could go anyone's way.
I'm going to go Rocker here because I think it's do or die for them almost. And honestly, when looking at Seattle, I mean, they lost to Breach, they lost to New York, they lost all hard points, which is like the big thing. And they only beat Paris. So I think Seattle is kind of in one of those slumps that we had talked about they fall in. And I think this is a great time for Rocker to capitalize. And hopefully Rocker just don't do some dumbass vetoes. That's the only thing I care about in this series, bro. Please just like take a little extra time to make sure your vetoes make sense. Because what we've seen so far have been pitiful. Yep.
Absolutely pitiful from the vetoes coming from Patrick Price. But listen, guys, that's going to do it for us, man. Listen, guys, next time, like I said, we'll have a 4th co-host joining us. So next show, we'll have a little surprise for you guys, and you guys can kind of see who it is. So that'll be an exciting show. And as always, man, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're closing in at 100,000 subs. So I appreciate everybody who's coming in and hitting that sub button over on the YouTube side of things. Go to anchor.fm/theflank to check out all the different audio sites that we're on. And go follow at The Flank on Twitter. Gert's doing a phenomenal job running socials. So make sure to go show some love over there at The Flank, man. Take care, brush your hair, and we'll see you guys next time on another episode of The Flank, man. Peace out.